Because a lot of y'all will let men slide. Y'all will let men skate with the craziest stuff. But the moment your friend does one thing you don't like, you ready to cut her off. Hey girl, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Trinity, and today we're going to be talking about something that has been highly requested on my channel for the longest time. We're going to be talking about all things friendship, specifically adult friendship, building friendship in your 20s and 30s, the evolution of friendship, the difference between childhood friendships and adult friendships. This seems to be something that a lot of women are trying to prioritize. Like, clearly it's something about your 20s and for some people your 30s that makes you want to be more intentional about your friendships. I want to say probably your late 20s to early 30s is the period where a lot of women feel like, yeah, I do need sisterhood. Sisterhood is important. Friendship is important. Having a tribe of women is important. It seems to have clicked for all of us around the same time. So let's unpack that first. Before we get into anything else, let's talk about why everyone seems to be desiring friendship and sisterhood at the same time. Your 20s and 30s are full of transitions. Like, so many different transitions happen in this period. We experience transitions in our careers, transitions in our romantic relationships. This is the time where a lot of women become mothers. This is the time where a lot of women get married. There are so many things that occur that cause this switch to go off in our brains. Like, oh, I do need women. I do need someone other than my romantic partner. Life really should not just be, oh, my man, my man, my man. Something clicks around this age where we're like, I don't just want to be a mom. Like, I do want to have something for myself. I do need people to talk to. I do need people to hang out with. And one thing that I noticed is that late 20s, early 30s period, I'm 29 for the record, it's often the period where women finally realize, like, I cannot lose myself in all these other things like I have done in the past. That's the period where you may have gotten out of a relationship and said to yourself, okay, I don't want to lose myself in my next relationship. So how can I be a more well-rounded person? How can I be a person who has a life outside of their partner? I've always been big on friendship and sisterhood, especially because I have 3 sisters. But a few years ago, I was coming out of a relationship where I was very codependent and did not have a life outside of my boyfriend. And I vowed to myself that I would never allow that to happen again. I realized where I went wrong when I was a girlfriend with all of my other relationships, like platonic relationships, familial relationships. And I decided I was going to put the work in to rebuild those relationships and really nurture them and be intentional about them. Your late 20s, early 30s is also a time where you realize that adult friendship is a lot different than childhood friendship. Like, you cannot operate the two the same. Yes, you can carry some friendships from your childhood into your adulthood, but even with that, you have to be very intentional about nurturing those relationships as you become adults. So let's talk about the difference between childhood friendships and adulthood friendships, because there are several, and we're also going to get into the whole friendship breakup concept, because I know a lot of us are experiencing that right now at this period in our lives. We're going to discuss why that happens. Okay, so first off, the difference between childhood friendship and adulthood friendship. When we were kids, we were friends with people because we saw them often. That was really the basis of our friendship. Your childhood friends were probably people who you met in your neighborhood. Like, maybe you went outside a lot. If you were an outside kid, you probably went to school with those friends. You probably met a lot of your childhood friends in church. I know that's where I met a lot of mine. Maybe you were into sports when you were younger, or maybe you were friends with people by default because your parents were friends. Your parents always hung out and y'all were just there in common spaces. Childhood friendships are often effortless because of the proximity. Seeing these people all the time makes your friendship effortless. It makes it easy because you don't really have to put in that much work. You're literally seeing these people all the time, again, by default. Friendships in adulthood, on the other hand, require more intention. 9 times out of 10, you're not just seeing your friends on a regular basis just by happenstance. Now, yes, there are some people who have like work friends and, you know, church friends and stuff like that, which we'll get into later. But for the most part, you have to be intentional about nurturing your friendships when you are an adult, because we have so much stuff going on once we become adults. Again, you have relationships, like romantic relationships. You have other friendships. We have careers, we have hobbies, we have kids. And then, let's be real, as adults, sometimes you just want to be by yourself. You don't want to spend all your free time with someone else, especially if you're in a romantic relationship or have kids. So you literally have to pencil in time to spend with your friends. You have to pick up the phone and call your friends and check on them and see how they're doing. You have to text people every now and then and say, hey, haven't talked to you in a while, what's going on, are you okay? You have to do check-ins. This is the reality of being an adult. Adult friendships, in my opinion, are choices, while childhood friendships are more of conveniences. Another difference, when we were kids, we bonded over fun stuff. When we were in elementary school, middle school, even high school, we bonded over the sports that we played in school. We bonded over the shows that we liked, the artists we liked. We bonded over where we like to shop, how we dress. Like, we bonded over the dumbest stuff. Honestly, in like elementary, middle school, you probably were becoming friends with girls just because they were pretty. Like, I remember being the new girl in school all the time because I went to a bunch of different schools, which is how I know so many different people. I remember being the new girl in so many different schools and girls wanting to be friends with me just because they felt like I was pretty and I could dress. Like, they literally told me that. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that's what we bonded over. Now the difference is, in adulthood, you can't just bond over stuff like that. You don't want to attach yourself to people just because of surface level stuff like that. In adulthood, you bond over values, you bond over energy, you bond over emotional safety. Like, does this person make you feel emotionally safe? Can you be vulnerable with this person? Can you vent to this person? And then in childhood friendships, we have less expectations. When I was a teenager and younger, I remember, you know, seeing my friends in school and talking to them on the phone occasionally. Maybe we would hang out on the weekends if our parents allowed us to. I didn't really have no expectations for my friends. I never really had no moment where I was like, oh yeah, she's a bad friend, unless maybe a girl you're friends with decides to talk to the guy that you have a crush on or something like that. Like, it would be little dumb stuff. But in adulthood, we got expectations. Are some people's expectations a little unrealistic and unfair sometimes? Yes. Another thing we'll get into later. But that is a big difference. As an adult, you want your friends to support you during hard times. You want to be able to talk to your friend when you're going through things. You want people to show up for you. You need to be able to have hard conversations with your friends. You need to be able to be vulnerable with your friends as an adult. So you expect more out of these people as you get older. And then another big difference is the fact that in childhood, you grow with your friends. When we were younger, we were all experiencing the same stuff at the same time. Everybody was achieving the same milestones at the same time. Everybody was getting their license around the same time. We were getting boyfriends around the same time. We went to prom at the same time. We graduated at the same time. Went to college at the same time. Graduated from college at the same time. Actually, let's take college out of it because this is going to prove the point that I'm trying to make. In adulthood, you don't always grow with your friends. Sometimes you grow apart from your friends because you're not hitting the same milestones at the same time. Sometimes you don't hit the same milestones at all. But I was saying, let's take college out of it because sometimes that is the point where you lose a lot of your friends, because you may have decided to go to college while some of your friends decided not to. Now you have a whole different life experience than them. They can't really relate to a lot of the things that you're dealing with and a lot of the things that you're experiencing because y'all are in two completely different places in life for the first time. And the thing is, not all friendships are going to last in the different phases of your life. Now, all of those differences are things that could result in friendship breakups, which is something that, like I said earlier, I feel like a lot of us experience around this time, because now you're at a point where you're experiencing things that your friends may not be able to relate to. Now you are seeking out people and new friends who can relate to what you're going through, people who you can talk to about things, people who can actually give you advice about things that you're experiencing. And not only that, but sometimes your frontal lobe develops and you literally just wake up one day like, what am I doing? Why do I have all these people around me whose morals are all messed up, whose values are all over the place, and maybe you just want to change? Like, there are so many different reasons why we have to experience friendship breakups. And if I'm being honest, as someone who has experienced a friendship breakup with their best friend before, like my best friend since childhood, I'll be the first one to say that friendship breakups are just as bad as romantic breakups. Not all of them, but like, if this is your day one ride or die and y'all realize that y'all are not really aligned, even if it's just for a season, that's hard to accept. Because as women, I don't know if men experience this too, but I know as a woman, I love my friends. I mean, we all know men love their friends, child, so it's not really about just loving your friends, but I think we expect romantic relationships to like go south sometimes. We expect for a man to do something that irritates the heck out of us, something that requires us to leave him, but we don't really expect that to happen in our friendships. I don't know about y'all, but my friends are like my sisters. So like, imagine breaking up with your sister or like really not speaking to your sister. I know some people do that. I don't do that. Like I said, I have 3 sisters. Only one is close in age with me. Like I'm 29, she's 26. We have never gone through a period where we fell out to the point where we ain't talking to each other. And no, your friends may not be on that level all the time, but I feel like it's kind of the same concept. Like this is the person who I basically look at as family, and now we're not communicating. Like now we're not dealing with each other at all. That's hard. That's hard to accept. But I think we have to get to a point where we can accept things changing even in friendship, because a situation being platonic doesn't necessarily mean that things can't go wrong. No, you can grow apart from a platonic friend just like you can a romantic partner. And while sometimes you have to break up with a friend because of, you know, betrayal or just an actual falling out, there are also times where you literally just slowly drift apart. Now that sucks really bad, because it's one thing when you can actually get closure from a situation. I know we always talk about closure when it comes to romantic relationships, but it really sucks when you and your friend, especially if it was your day one close friend, best friend, when y'all just slowly drift apart and no one says anything. It's kind of just like an unsaid thing. Okay, yeah, we're not best friends anymore, or yeah, we're not on the level that we once were anymore. And you don't really know what's going on, especially because if you were friends with that person for a long time, if you were close with that person for a long time, you may not even know how to navigate being anything less than best friends. Like it gets a little muddy. You don't know if you should be inviting this person out to stuff. You don't know if you should be trying to spend time with this person still. You don't know if you should be calling this person, texting this person. You don't really know if you should cut them off completely or find a way to navigate this new space. Now, while, like I said, there are situations where you may have an actual falling out with your friend, and there are also situations where y'all just slowly drift apart, maybe values change, life changes, you know, all that stuff. There's also the occasion where something happens that someone feels some way about, and they decide to not say anything to the friend, and they just drift apart because of that. Like if something actually happens that causes you and your friend to have a silent falling out, I think that's a problem. And I think this is a great thing to bring up in this video, because this is something that a lot of women need to hear. We have to start giving our friends grace the same way we give men grace. Because a lot of y'all will let men slide. Y'all will let men skate with the craziest stuff, but the moment your friend does one thing you don't like, you ready to cut her off. Now I'm not saying you gotta let your friend play in your face just because you let your man play in your face. Don't let nobody play in your face. Stop letting that man play in your face, first of all. But it's very unfair when you clearly let a man skate and your friend does something that's nowhere near as bad as what he did to you. Like maybe she didn't even know what she was doing affected you. I know y'all like to say, oh, people know what they're doing. Yeah, sometimes people do know what they're doing, and sometimes people don't know what they're doing. Like sometimes people's intentions are not what you think they are. As adults, we have to learn how to grow up and have adult conversations and talk to people about whatever happened that we didn't like. Why can't you give her enough grace to say, hey, I don't like what you said, or I don't like what you did. I'm hoping that doesn't happen again. But yeah, I value our friendship enough to come to you and talk to you about the situation before just being like, yeah, I'm wiping my hands with her. I think it's so crazy that so many women think men are worth having those conversations. Their romantic relationships are worth conversations, but their friendships are not. I also think it's important to accept when your friendship is ending or when you are growing apart from someone, and accept it without villainizing the person, especially if there was no big falling out, especially if there was no betrayal, if the person didn't actually do anything to you. You have to learn how to accept that friendship can look different in different seasons of your life. And honestly, that has a lot to do with knowing how to compartmentalize your friends. Again, we'll get to that in a second, but first let's talk about how to make new friends in your 20s and 30s, or just as an adult, period. If you have a desire to make some new friends, get yourself a girl group, build a sisterhood, my first piece of advice is to become the friend that you want to attract. What do you look for in a friend? How do you want people to show up for you? What is important to you in a friendship? All those things that just pop into your mind, you need to become those things first, because a lot of people are seeking out friendship, seeking out friends, seeking out sisterhood, and they just want to take. They just want to be able to get what they can get out of people, and they don't really have anything to offer. What can you offer someone? What do you bring to the table in a friendship? Are you looking for people to support you, or are you looking to be a supportive friend? Are you looking for people to be consistent with you, or are you going to be consistent with them as well? Secondly, make sure you are looking for shared values and not just vibes. Earlier in the video, I mentioned how when we were kids, we bonded over fun. We bonded over vibes, essentially. Oh yeah, you like the same type of music as me? Okay, we can be friends. You like the same artist as me? We can be friends. I like the way you dress. I think you're pretty. Let's be friends. Believe it or not, I hear a lot of women at this big age who try to connect with people for the same reasons. It can't be, oh, I like how she dressed. Oh, we look like she getting to the bag. Oh, I like how she runs her business. I like the fact that she has a lot of friends. I want to be in their friend circle. I ain't gonna lie, I feel like that be happening to me a lot, but we ain't even gonna get into it. Like, people see the friendship circle that you've built and they want to be a part of that. And I don't really know if that's a terrible thing, but I just think like inserting yourself into a whole friend group is crazy. Like, why not build a relationship with one person, and maybe if they bring you around everybody, then okay. But to actually seek out becoming a part of someone's friend group, I think that's weird. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But anyway, but yeah, it has to be more than just vibes. For example, I'm gonna tell y'all a story about a recent friendship that I have built. Me and my nail tech, her name is O. I've been going to O for 3 years now. I don't know, I think it's been like 3 years. But I feel like within the last year, maybe, it probably hasn't even been a year, we have started building a friendship. And it's so funny because before I started going to her to get my nails done, we always followed each other on social media, and I always thought she just seemed like such a cool girl. Like, I loved the way she dressed, I loved her hair. She always had like a short blonde haircut, and she just gave me like real vibey cool girl. But when I went to her to get my nails done, I wasn't thinking like, okay, I'm gonna get in good with her, get my nails done. I actually got to know her. Like, when I went to her to get my nails done that first time, we talked, we vibed so well, we clicked so well that first time. It was like a few years of that, like us just talking, vibing, getting to know each other. And then one day we realized like we should actually hang out like outside of this client nail tech relationship. One day she was like, yeah, I really like you, like I feel like we should hang out. I was like, you know what, okay, cool. And I like that she said that, and I also like the fact that she waited a while before saying it, because it let me know that you actually like me as a person. You're not just like, oh yeah, we both got nice style and we both like this and that. No, I like you as a person, and I would like to actually hang out with you and build a friendship with you. That is how you build something off of like values and not just vibes. You also need to be intentional when you're trying to make new friends. It's kind of like being single and finally deciding that you're ready to date again. Like, you have to put yourself out there. People are always talking about how they want new friends. Oh, how do I make friends? How do I make friends? What are you doing to make friends? Like, how are you letting people know that you're interested in building a relationship with them? You literally have to carry it the same way as a romantic relationship. Now, I think what probably causes an issue is the fact that women are used to like men pursuing them when it comes to romantic relationships. So we have a hard time pursuing friendship because we're so used to people coming to us. But if everybody's waiting for someone to come to them, no one's ever going to make friends. Sometimes all you have to do is just show a person that you're interested. And that probably sounds so strange because it feels strange saying it, but little things like inviting someone out. Like, one of my closest friends now started off as one of my lash clients, and she was pregnant at the time when she first started coming to me. And after a few appointments, she was like, would you like to come to my baby shower? And I was like, sure. So she gave me an invite. Me and my boyfriend at the time, we went to the baby shower. That was the beginning of us building a relationship outside of me just doing her lashes. All it took was a simple invitation. I have another friend that I recently started getting close with. Shout out to my girl Dania, because she's probably watching this, period. We started getting close when she invited me to her church for something that they were having on a Friday night. And when we left out of there, she told me like, yeah, I don't really have a lot of friends who go to church. I know that you go to church, so I figured you would like the event. And you know, I think we should start hanging out. Like, I know we hang out in group settings sometimes because we have a mutual friend, my friend Sydney. And she's like, yeah, I want us to like start building a relationship of our own. So I'm like, okay, bet. Like, sometimes all it takes is somebody actually saying that they're interested in being your friend. Engaging with people on social media is another way to make friends. Like, the other night, this girl followed me. I clicked on her page. I'm looking at her pictures. I'm like, oh, she's so cute. So I follow her back. Next thing you know, she's responding to my story like, you so tea. And I'm like, thank you, so are you, you so pretty, whatever. Like, little interactions like that can be the start of a friendship. I'm not saying me and her are friends. Our conversation didn't go no further than that, but that's a good way to start like engaging with somebody. All right, y'all, my camera died. Hopefully the angle is not too different, but you also got to be okay with things not going anywhere potentially. Like, sometimes you might set out to build a relationship with someone, or they might set out to build a relationship with you, and then y'all hang out and you realize that you don't really want to be friends with this person. Sometimes that happens. That has happened to me before. Like, I clicked with someone and we started having conversations, and I realized like, yeah, this person kind of irritates me a little bit. Like, sometimes that happens. That's okay. And then you also have to be okay with not being somebody's everything friend. So yeah, let's get into the compartmentalizing thing, because I know I've like hinted at that a few times in this video. It's so important to compartmentalize your friends, or to be able to compartmentalize your friends. You have to be able to embrace having different types of friends. I saw something one day that said that adult friendship is a mosaic, not a monolith. A mosaic is a large piece of art, let's say, that is made up of a bunch of small pieces, while a monolith is a single large piece of rock that lacks diversity and individual expression. So the mosaic friendship has a bunch of different people for a bunch of different things, if that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a bunch of different people, because as you get older, you'll learn that you'll need 20 friends. Sometimes you can have a good 3 and be good. So that's the mosaic friendship. And then you have the monolith friendship, where you have one friend who you go to for everything. This is your everything friend. Just think about the pressure that's on the friends or friend in this situation. And this is literally what I mean by compartmentalizing. There are tiers when it comes to friendship. Well, there should be, in my opinion. And I know people like to tussle about this. Like, girls be online talking about, if I can only be your friend for certain things and I don't want to be your friend at all. Like, come on now. Let's be so for real. You cannot be everything to your friends. You can't. I don't want to be everything. I don't want to be that everything friend to my friends, because it's too much pressure. It's just like being in a relationship with somebody who does not have a life outside of you. They're literally draining the energy out of you because they don't have stuff going on in their own life. And I wanted to mention this while talking about making new friends, because I noticed that sometimes people set out to make new friends and they want to be besties with the person, because they feel like, oh, if we ain't besties, then we not friends. And that's not true, because again, there are tiers in friendship. Just because you're not my best friend don't mean we not cool. Just because we not best friends don't mean you not my girl. I have a good amount of friends, but I also have like my core group of close friends, and not everybody becomes a part of that. And my therapist had to actually give me the okay on this. Like, I remember years ago, she told me, you don't always have to mix your friends. Like, everybody isn't for everything. There might be a girl who you really click with, you really like her, y'all really cool, but she not necessarily about to be a bridesmaid in your wedding. Like, it's different. And that doesn't mean that you treat everybody different, but you know, it's a different type of relationship. Again, you want to compartmentalize because it reduces pressure. It allows you to enjoy people for who they are instead of resenting who they are not and what they're not doing for you. And reducing that pressure allows you to free people of unrealistic expectations. Compartmentalizing also reflects adult life, like real adult life. We are all in different seasons. I have friends who are moms like me. I have friends who are entrepreneurs like me. I also have friends who don't have kids, friends who don't run businesses. They have 9-to-5s. I have friends who are married. I have friends who are single. So there's no way that I can be everything to any of these people, because there are some things that they experience that I can't relate to. There are some things that I experience that some of them can't relate to. When you are an adult and you have a lot of different things going on, you're in multiple different seasons of your life at the same time, it's only right that you compartmentalize your friends. It's only right that you have friends for certain things and for different things. And this does not mean you're being fake, because I know a lot of people like to say that people who have to compartmentalize are fake. That is not the case at all. It's just about having levels. Compartmentalizing is literally asking yourself, how does this person fit into my life without me having to force it? How do they naturally fit and flow into my life? It's literally honoring the connection that makes the most sense for that relationship. And then it also allows you to shift people as needed, or like move them around as needed. I know that probably sounds so bad, but it's the truth. Like I said earlier, there are some seasons where you may not be as close to somebody as you were at another point in your life. And compartmentalizing allows you to say, okay, we were once best friends. We used to talk every single day. We used to go out every single weekend. This was my go-to person whenever I had to vent, like, you know, stuff like that. But now we're in a season of our lives where there's no beef, but we're not there anymore. We can't do those same things anymore. Or maybe that person still is your best friend, but the way y'all interact, the way y'all show up for each other just changes because of whatever season you're in your life. Compartmentalizing allows you to still have a connection with someone, still be friends with someone in the way that works best for y'all in that season. Now, sometimes you do have to cut people off, but you don't always have to cut people off. Sometimes you just kind of, I don't want to say demote them, because that sounds really bad. Like, it's not always about demoting, because it doesn't have to be a negative thing, especially if the person didn't really do anything to you. But people don't have to serve the same purpose in your life for your whole entire friendship. All right, I think we covered a good amount of stuff in this video. If y'all have any more questions about friendship, feel free to leave them down below, and we can maybe do a part 2. I don't know what else y'all need to know. So again, I hope y'all enjoyed. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.